What is up, friends? YouTube Motorcycle Enthusiasts, Accelerate here in Little Hocking, Ohio for 2023's AMA US Hard Enduro Fallen Timbers. So I don't have any footage for the qualifying race. Unfortunately, my CF card or my GoPro card corrupted, so got very little, not really enough to make a movie or a video rather to really put out there. But you know, the main race, I ended up buying getting a new card that night after the qualifier. So I qualified 5th, which was pretty good. Felt pretty good about it. It was dry. I'm sure at this point most of you guys have seen some of the footage for the difference between the qualifier and the main race. The qualifier was a nice stroll in a very well put out course, but it was somewhat dry. The ground was a little moist, but it was still kind of tacky, is what we can see here. The main race was not even remotely close to that. We launched pretty much in a downpour. They had thunderstorms roll in about an hour before, maybe 40 minutes before it started drizzling before we all got lined up and got out there, and it continued to rain for the next about an hour and a half, and it just got slicker and slicker. So for anybody that's ever ridden in this Ohio mud, it's a completely different animal, and I'm not gonna lie, I almost forgot how terrible this mud is whenever it's wet. It's like, I know it's funny because the Enduro Fest, they talk about the Hawaiian ice. I think there's some legit Ohio ice because I was sideways all over the place. So this one was absolutely a fun one, just like last year. It was super slick, but you know, hopefully I gained a little bit of skills and had a little bit more race experience, which in this type of stuff, with these type of bottlenecks, you guys can absolutely see it was pretty insane. I didn't even experience these bottlenecks last year. This first little off camber was frankly nothing, but it was so slick that everyone was just all over the place. It was absolute chaos. So I get out of the bottlenecks and we start some downhill, which is always fun whenever it's this muddy and slick.
Go ahead, man. Good, buddy. Hey, cow. Hello. Yeah, saw that coming. Safe. Cool.
So this downhill section was really slick, and the bottlenecks were tight enough to where I definitely didn't want to consider riding it. You guys know me and my downhills anyway, but I ended up bulldogging it like most of the amateurs coming through here, and the bottleneck was so tight that it just, for me, I felt a lot better doing it that way. So you guys may notice my sick new decals there and plastics. It was time to get new plastics. My bike, the plastics were getting beat up. I had some broken parts of the tail and some sides, so I opted for the 2017 Polysport redesign, the upgraded 20 plus like plastics, which ended up being really cool. And I'm probably kicking around getting the idea of getting a new bike here towards the fall, so I didn't want to spend the money on full new plastics and decals going into race season, considering it was probably going to get beat up. So shout out to my wife, who has a Cricket, who actually did a handful of the vinyl decal stickers on there. You guys can see the nice made in Italy, the Beta, it's got to represent. But nothing fancy, just put it on there for fun, really, going into the race, so pretty cool. So I actually learned a little bit here with these off cambers and the mud. It was almost like remembering what it's like to ride in conditions that are this slick. And Brushy Mountain and Battle of the Goats, we left in the rain as well, and it was really slick. But I assure you guys, Brushy was nowhere near as slick as this, which is crazy. But it was so slick. But what I learned really was, number one is the ruts are your friend. Getting in that rut and staying in the rut. So I was running a Kenda Gnarly, a 140, of course. That's kind of my go-to tire, which isn't really known for being awesome in the mud. But the good thing is the footprint really helps, and I actually was running like 0 PSI too. Now, one thing I did have was in the straights, I actually had good traction with the Gnarly. I was finding traction where a lot of folks weren't, as long as I was in the rut or going straight. Now, the off cambers, man, no, I got nothing. Like, the off cambers were, you had to be so completely ginger with the throttle, the bike position, anything. Even then, it was not. It was almost like you had to just. It was like tiptoeing when you're a kid. You don't want to wake your parents up or something. Like, it was so. You had to be so cautious about how your bike position was and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of like a relearning experience after this nice off cam was a good warm up for the rest of the race. It's legendary Steve Thaxton there in front of me. Steve's an absolute savage. I met Steve in Kentucky, I want to say at the Groundhog Extreme, if I remember correctly. No, Saddleback Extreme, that's right. And what a super cool dude. But I believe Steve ended up getting, I think, second in this for the 45 plus expert. The dude is an absolute savage. So shout out to Steve, super nice guy also. You know, I will say whenever making these race videos, it's kind of tempting to cut out some of the grind, which I know a lot of this stuff isn't super exciting. You know, it's not like big tricks up a 4-foot step up or anything cool like that, but you know, that's kind of what hard enduro is. You know, it's not all flash all the time, which is kind of what I like about it. This one definitely had a lot of pushing and a lot of just grinding it out through the mud and the off cambers and the reattempts and that type of stuff, which don't get me wrong, I cut out a lot of stuff, you know, to keep it under control, but you know, it still ended up being like a 40-minute video, but I didn't want to cut out too much. You know, really sometimes you just gotta embrace the suck, so to speak. So plus we really want to get that out to the audience, you know, that they call it hard enduro for a reason.
This rut's got traction for days.
So the common theme with this one's going to be foggy lens, right? So as I got progressively more into the race, there became no part of my glove or gear that was dry enough to wipe off the lens. So it's going to be a little bit foggy, and I'm really bad about not bringing a rag, which I guess I don't ride a race in the mud and rain enough. So point taken on that one, lesson learned. I'm always going to have a clean rag. I did have a spare pair of gloves, which also ironically ended up getting wet inside my pack, but nonetheless, so yeah, bring a towel or a rag to wipe hands and lens. So.
Good job, bro.
You know, it's really something about seeing Ryder LeBlond whiz by you in these conditions. Kind of inspires you, you know, to kind of step up your game a little bit. So maybe you lit a fire under me, but man, that dude is so fast. He lapped me a few times throughout the day on this one, and every time, I swear, that guy had a smile on his face and just a determination that is so impressive. So, as many of you guys know, Ryder ended up winning. So, well done, brother. Well done.
Go right, yeah, you're good.
So just for some grind details for you guys, I switched hydration mix that goes in my pack. So I switched to Scratch Labs hydration. I recommend you guys check it out. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I started using them and I'm really happy with the results. A little low on the sodium, I think, for me, but I need to do a sweat test still. But for this race, obviously you guys may know it's a 4.5-hour race total. So I ended up taking both my Climb waist pack, which is 2 liters, as well as my Zac Speed 3 liter, and 5 liters total for 4.5 hours at about 1.2 liters per hour. There's Will Reardon running down Ryder, so pretty cool. Again, getting passed, lapped once again by the pros. First hill climb, funnest part.
Oh, joy!
I say that jokingly because, as you guys know, I'm also not awesome at hill climbs.
Mikey, what do you think? Yeah.
Alright, so we got two lines here. Pretty much the pros and everybody with the gumption went straight. It actually gets pretty steep up there. I know the nice GoPro makes it look like a child can walk up it, but I assure you, it was very steep. I guess that's a little bit more of a perspective, as you guys can see there. So if you had the ability to go straight, you could do that, but the normal people, us mortals, basically just had to make it to that tree, and then once we got up to the tree, there was a rut that rode out the hill, but that rut didn't start until right up to the right of that second tree there. So I was actually under it a little bit, so I started basically pushing out the hill. My plan was to get out the hill and then just start going side to side, get out there hopefully enough to where I could spin it around and then work back the other way to get up to that rut, which honestly in the dry would be no problem, easy feat, but in this mud and how slick it was, I was ultra ginger with that rear tire because it would just slide at a moment, you know, no notice whatsoever, it would just go, and I really had to kind of muscle it up and you know, harness my inner gorilla to basically get the bike up there.
Sweet rut victory.
And there it is, folks. Once again, the rut saved lives. Once I got to the rut, just let the gnarly do what the gnarly does. Yes, the first diner section. So I was actually really looking forward to this section last year and didn't make it, but it was cool to make it this year. Oh look, it's Ryder LeBlanc once again passing us. Ryder absolutely killing it. So as you guys can see from at this point, third time around. So pretty like awesome.
That, you know.
Go this way?
I'd go through there, dude. You ain't gonna hurt my shit. You're good. Ryder's just ahead of you, brother. Like right there.
So that's Riehu factory rider Hayden Mosa. That's my wingman at Battle of the Goats who helped me get out of that sticky situation at the end when I was lost and found in the mountains of North Carolina. So shout out to Hayden. Did an awesome job in the race, and yeah, it was really cool seeing him out there killing it as usual.
Where you want? Front out?
Yeah, if the front can get out, I'm fine.
Oh shit, that tree's moving. Here. You gotta yell when you lift.
Sorry, strap.
Sorry, bro.
Oh no, Will's coming to you.
Fuck. We're in the way.
Almost.
Okay. Good?
Maybe.
Definitely not pointed the right way.
There it is.
Good? Yeah, man. Good job, dude.
Will Reardon, pass it again. You know, and I gotta give props to the young man in front of me, the youth rider. Dude was absolutely killing it. You know, we chatted a little bit. Obviously, I've trimmed some of the being stuck and panning and all that jazz. But you know, he said he was 90 pounds, and I was like, man, just out there absolutely killing it. And of course, I embarrassed myself by breaking his front strap, trying to be a funny guy. But yeah, I followed him for quite a while, and he impressed me the entire time. Just a savage kid. So way to go, buddy. Way to go.
Sweet Majesty. What's your number? 404C. 404C. 404. Good. Thank you. How many sea riders do you have come through?
I think there's 5 or 6 of them.
What? Good job, guys. Thank you.
Working through this section was really cool, and as I kind of mentioned earlier, I didn't make it to this section coming the other direction last year, and if you guys are listening to podcasts and obviously the other videos that are out there, the trail boss decided to run this course backwards this year, so it looked a little different from what I had seen last year, but I definitely recognized some pieces of it. but getting to go through the diner section was really cool. And all right, so some of you may not believe this, but my brand new FMF gnarly that I put on right before this race did not get a single dent during this race. In fact, I had to post about it because honestly, I couldn't believe it. Maybe it was the mud, maybe it was a little bit of luck, but I made it through this diner section and another section without a single dent, which is really cool. Which wasn't cool was the other diner section was later, and I didn't get it on video because my battery had died, and I didn't replace it. But Colton Haker passed us through that section, and I actually got out of his way and got to give him a tug through a rock section too, because it was really tight, and he went for a pretty gnarly send up and around us. So pretty cool. So yeah, did that about 3 or 4 times during the race as well, and it worked really well. My grips and my hands were completely full of mud. I actually washed my seat off probably 2 or 3 times, as well as sat down in the creek. I sat down in the creek twice just to get some sort of grip back from my seat. I haven't ever put I've had the gripper seats. I use Moto Seat, which I have a new Moto Seat cover on, which I really like. I didn't get the ribs. Lesson learned on that one, guys. I will 100% put the ribs on the bike. At least give it a try. I've never ridden with the ribs on the seat before, but in these conditions, every extra physical assistance that I could have for grip on the seat would have been helpful, because with all the mud, I was literally just slipping right off the bike. It was one of the hardest parts, was keeping my hips forward on the bike in some of these technical spots. So definitely looking forward to that one.
Good job, man. For all you spectators out there, this was the previous loop that comes up and down. And then I was stuck here with no clutch last year, no batteries. Quinn Wenzel used this little spot right here for me. That was my rock right there, that little rock. Used it to get around me. Fun memories.
So what you guys may not have seen from that off camber is that's about a 40-foot drop is my guess. Maybe not quite 40 feet, but that off camber is super sketch. And what I was kind of explaining right there is the track came through there, that same spot last year. And that was the spot that I almost got sucked down the hill. So that was I was glad to get through there basically unscathed to go to another rock section, which was sweet.
Yeah, baby.
So that was the second check and ultimately the end of the race for me. I didn't have any more battery swaps. That pretty much ended it. I did end up making 3 checks and I got 5th overall for C-Class, which I have to admit I was really happy about. I always want to do better, and that's my goal, is to do better, push harder, have more skills. But you know, it's a process, and I'm looking forward to that process. So thanks guys for watching. I appreciate you getting at this. If you've gotten to this point of the video, 40 minutes in. So more coming. Again, apologies, no qualifier video, but the footage just the card crapped out on me. So coming up next, Tough Like Roar and Shotgun Hard Enduro. So we're making our way up to Pennsylvania, first time ever, and I'm going to do everything I can to get in that top 70. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Get out there, get on 2 wheels, and ride a dirt bike. This is Accelerate once again, signing off.